It's 6 in the morning, March 5th, 10th, 2050. Maria wakes up in São Paulo. Ahmed is just starting his evening in Cairo. Yuki is having lunch in Tokyo. They've never met in person, but they're about to save a life together. This isn't science fiction. This is what life looks like when humanity finally grew up. When we stopped fighting over imaginary lines and started solving real problems. Let me show you a day in a world where we got it right. Maria checks her phone. An alert from the Global Health Network. A rare disease outbreak has been detected in a small village in Mozambique. Now, normally, this would take weeks to address. In 2050, it takes minutes. Because in this timeline, we didn't wait for the next pandemic to kill millions. After COVID-19, humanity created a unified disease surveillance system. Every hospital, every clinic, every single health worker on Earth is connected to one network. When a pattern emerges anywhere, the entire planet responds. Maria is a data analyst in Brazil. She spots the anomaly in the numbers. Ahmed, an epidemiologist in Egypt, confirms it's a known pathogen. Yuki, a logistics coordinator in Japan, is already arranging vaccine delivery. By noon, medical teams are on the ground. By evening, the outbreak is contained. 0 deaths. No international incident, no blame game. Just humans helping humans. This happened because we realized something incredibly simple. Viruses don't have passports. Either we protect everyone, or we protect no one. At lunchtime, Maria walks through a São Paulo that looks very different from the one in 2025. The air is cleaner. The Amazon rainforest, which was nearly a third gone back in 2025, is now actively regenerating. Because in this timeline, we didn't wait until 2045 to take climate change seriously. In the late 2020s, something finally shifted. Maybe it was the summer that hit 130 degrees Fahrenheit in multiple countries. Maybe it was the refugee crisis that made the 2015 crisis look tiny. Whatever it was, humanity stopped arguing about whether climate change was real and started arguing about the fastest way to fix it. And here's what happened when the entire planet worked on the same problem. By 2035, renewable energy was cheaper than fossil fuels everywhere. By 2040, atmospheric carbon started declining for the first time in centuries. By 2045, we'd planted 1 trillion trees. By 2050, global temperatures finally stopped rising. The technology to do all this existed back in 2025. The resources existed then too. The only thing missing was the collective will. Once we had that, we fixed it in a single generation. Maria's daughter attends the São Paulo campus of what used to be called universities. Now they're just called learning centers, and they're everywhere. Because in this timeline, we realize that education is how you prevent almost every other problem. Educated populations don't start wars. They solve problems. They innovate. They cooperate. So we made a radical decision. The best education in the world should be available to every child on Earth, for free. MIT professors teach kids in rural India via hologram. Oxford courses are available in Swahili and Mandarin. A brilliant teenager in Nigeria has the exact same access to knowledge as one in Norway, and the cost. It was less than what the world spent on weapons in a single year back in 2024. The result was an explosion of human potential. Diseases were cured by people who would have otherwise died in poverty. Technologies were invented by minds that would have never been educated. Problems were solved by the 90% of human intelligence we used to be wasting. Dinner time. Maria's family has food on the table. This seems normal, but in this timeline, everyone has food. Because in 2050, we ended hunger. Not because we grew more food, we already grew enough in 2025 to feed 10 billion people. We ended hunger because we decided to. We created a global food distribution system. Surplus from one region automatically gets shipped to where it's needed. Advanced by robots, coordinated by AI, and funded by what used to be military budgets. And the irony. It cost less than we ever thought. It turns out, hungry people can't buy things, they can't work effectively, and they can't contribute to society. Feeding everyone wasn't charity, it was the single most profitable investment in human history. Crime dropped. Political instability vanished. Productivity soared. Ending poverty didn't cost us wealth, it created it. Before bed, Maria video calls her friend in Oslo. Her daughter plays an online game. With kids in Kenya and South Korea, her husband collaborates on an engineering project with a team spanning 4 continents. In this timeline, the internet didn't divide us, it connected us. Because we fixed it. We made social media accountable. Algorithms that promoted rage were banned. Spreading misinformation became a crime, just like fraud. Tech companies that prioritized engagement over our well-being were regulated like tobacco companies. The result? A digital space that brings out humanity's best, not its worst. Where ideas compete on merit, not outrage. where connection actually means connection. So how did we get here? How did we go from the brink of collapse in 2025 to this in 2050? It wasn't a new technology, we already had that. It wasn't about resources, we already had those too. It wasn't one charismatic leader or one single revolutionary moment. It was millions of small decisions. Billions of people choosing cooperation over competition. Choosing we over us versus them. It started with individuals. People who stopped sharing misinformation. People who had difficult conversations with those they disagreed with. Who voted for leaders focused on long-term solutions, not short-term wins. It grew into movements. Communities that proved cooperation works. Cities that showed what was possible. Countries that led by example. And eventually, it just became normal. The same way democracy became normal. The same way human rights became normal. The same way opposing slavery became normal. One day, people looked around and realized that tribalism, nationalism, and putting your country above the planet looked as barbaric as feudalism, as outdated as thinking the earth was flat. This is one possible future. It's not the only one. It's not guaranteed. But it is possible. Every single piece of this exists right now, in 2025, the technology, the resources, the knowledge. We know how to do all of this. The only question is, will we? Or will we spend the next 25 years fighting over borders, arguing about which group deserves more, and watching the planet burn because we couldn't agree on how to save it? 2050 is 25 years away. That's one generation. One chance. What will you choose? Thanks for watching.